Let's talk about what the Egyptian underworld or the Duat actually looks like. Coming from someone who's a psychic, I've actually looked into the Duat in Egypt. The first time I saw it, my face was pressed against, well, let me that thing, which is essentially the root system that is made of ankhs on the wall of the Temple of Osiris at Karnak. But not only that, I've actually, since seeing it there the very first time, I've actually astral projected into the Duat, and I've been back to Egypt a couple times since and can tell you that it looks very, very different once you start to see it. And if you're wanting a story time of how the heck I got into this temple in Egypt to have my head pressed against these ankhs on this wall, I did do a story time about it. It's my previous video. If you're coming from that video, sorry to leave you hanging. Okay, I only have so much time. The best way to describe the Egyptian underworld when I looked into it the very first time, to me, it looked very geometric. It had a row of the male deity standing on one side and the row of the female deity standing on the other, and they were on these like raised pylon looking things, and everything was very geometric but extremely colorful. It was kind of like if the desert had been painted in vivid color. It was kind of like that. And when I saw it, it was almost like little like auras were radiating off of it when I was there. And the only deity that I didn't see was Thoth, who's a deity I actually work with very, very regularly. And I knew that he wasn't because he was like standing behind me and like helping me like see through. It was kind of like he was pushing on my head to like help me see through this window there. It's important to note that there's 7 ankhs in the picture. See? 7. And those 7 ankhs also correspond to the 7 parts of the soul that the ancient Egyptian people thought that we had. When I was looking into that, I was seeing a lot of things in like fractalization of 7, because that was also like relating to me according to that Egyptian lore. Now, since then, when I've looked at the Duat, it's really, really interesting because I was like, okay, I can see this now. I want to see this all over the place. So when I went back to Egypt again, I started to look at the Duat at the same time that I was standing on the sand or standing on the ground, like looking at these ancient structures. And what it looks like is those structures, the way they were built originally, like the colors, the vibrancy, like everything. The first time I tried it, I was standing in front of the pyramid. I'm like, what does this actually look like in the Duat? And it's like an exact copy, like down, channeling down underneath below. But you can see all of the colors. There's plants growing. There's like the beings of that live in the underworld walking around. It's fascinating. By the way, in the Duat, the pyramid looks like it's made of 4 different colors. So each side of the pyramid is a different color of granite. I don't know if that's historically accurate or if that's just what it looks like down there. I think it's historically accurate because I kind of channeled into the history of that too. But that's what it looks like. Now, at the time, that very first time that I had my head pressed against the wall when I saw into the Duat, I understood immediately, and it was a huge part of the message, that you're only working with Egyptian deities if you're needing transformation. And that the entire purpose of the Duat is essentially like understanding the self and diving into transformation. And that's what all of those deities come forward to help with. And every other place that I've gone to in Egypt with the group trips, etc., I have also looked into the Duat to see like its actual colors and the way that it looked. It's like really, really cool. And in our next story time, I'm going to tell you about how I dreamed about temples that we were passing while I was on a bus without actually going into them. And if you're watching this and like, oh my gosh, I want to go on one of these adventures, we do host group trips. You know where to look.